The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. That very first day of the week, two of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus. And they were conversing about all the things that had occurred. And it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them. But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word, before God and all the people. How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him. But we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since this took place." Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. They came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive. Then some of them with us went to the tomb and found things just as the woman had described. But him they did not see. And he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are! How slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke! Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" Then beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all scriptures. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on farther. But they urged him, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. And it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. With that, their eyes were opened and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us?" So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon." Then the two recounted what had taken place on the way and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. The Gospel of the Lord. It's hard to believe that two of Jesus' disciples are walking along and suddenly another person joins them, but they don't recognize him. This new person joining them seems to be unaware of the recent events that have taken place, and he asks the two, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" I think the two disciples at this time might have coined the phrase, "Dude, have you been living under a rock?" Well, everybody knows what has happened to Jesus, but who are these two to ask such a question when they didn't recognize Jesus? That was nearly 2,000 years ago. But it seems to me the mystery of recognizing and knowing Jesus continues today. This year at Spring Enrichment, there will be at least 6 sessions about Jesus and who do you say that I am. The more things change, the more they say the same, as we are in search of Jesus and who he is 2,000 years later. There was a flyer in the gathering area for a men's conference called The Road to Emmaus. We are all on the road to Emmaus. We are all on the road to Emmaus, and maybe at times we are looking for a relationship with Jesus or building a stronger relationship with him. Maybe the road to Emmaus is taken because we are in need of a friend who does not judge us, does not turn away from us, but is there for companionship and guidance. Maybe we are on the road to Emmaus to realize we can't do this alone, and no matter what we try to fill it with in materialistic goods, we can never fill the void. Why do you think these two disciples couldn't recognize Jesus? I'll tell you a little story about recognition. A few years ago, Pat and I were vacationing in Orlando, and like tourists do, we went to Disney World. It was a blast, and we truly enjoyed the vacation. A couple of days after we got home, Pat received a call from a friend. The friend made some small talk and finally said, "I don't know how to say this, but I feel I need to say something." The woman told Pat that she had been vacationing in Orlando last week and was at Disney World, and she's with her family, and she saw me. Pat said, "Oh wow, did you speak to him? He never mentioned seeing you." She said, "No, because he was with another woman." Wow, how fast they turned me under the bus. The woman he was with was a blonde. Well, Pat told her friends she really appreciated the call, but that she had recently changed her hair color, and that she was the blonde I was with. Woo! So maybe it isn't so easy to recognize Jesus when he is walking by your side on the road to Emmaus. There are over 200 names for Jesus. Whatever we are looking for on the road to Emmaus, Jesus can represent that to us. Many of us are proud to wear clothing, as Jim does every week. Put on our stickers on our vehicles or flags on our house, and let people know we are fans of this team, this school, this union, or this cause. I worked for many years at some of the most recognizable companies in the world. At Frito-Lay, I worked for the #1 snack food company in the world. At Ben & Jerry's, I worked for a company that was a leader in environmental protection and socially minded corporate America. When I drove their vehicles or wore their logoed clothing, I was very aware of what I represented and how my actions would reflect the company. As we are aware, are we as aware and recognizable as followers of Jesus Christ? I don't advocate wearing Jesus on our sleeve or our hat or putting Jesus flags on our lawn. But can people recognize that we are followers of Jesus? Do people recognize Jesus in our hearts and in our actions? The most effective way of witnessing is found in the way we quietly live our lives. It is found in the values we hold and we live by. People notice what we said, and they really notice what we don't say and don't do. Many of us go about a day doing what we do and not thinking about how it has an effect on anybody else. If you think about people who have influenced your life the most, you will realize that most likely you forgot about the incident, but you remember their characteristics and which they portrayed to you. That is what effective witnessing is all about. When we witness someone, we must get to know them, and that person have the ability to follow his or her mission. Knowing Jesus can begin here every weekend and continues during the week when you are Christ to somebody or someone is Christ to you. The disciples on the road to Emmaus recognized Jesus in the breaking of the bread. Their eyes were open and they saw Jesus, the risen Christ. Today, Father will bless the bread and he will give the bread and break it. And we as a family will receive the bread and we will receive Christ as a family. The disciples' eyes were open when they broke the bread, and they ran to tell others. May our eyes be open today, and may we run to tell others the good news. Jesus is risen, and he loves me. Willie Nelson once sang a song, "On the road again, going places that I've never been, seeing things I may never see again, on the road again." The road to Emmaus is open, and Jesus invites us to get on the road again. And he will take us places we've never been and see things we've never seen. Will you walk with him? Will you recognize him?